Hi, welcome back, everyone. My guest this week is Revenant.
Hello. What's going on?
Tell us a bit more about yourself.
Damn, what is there to tell? I'm a musician, music fan. Yeah, someone just who likes to try different things whenever he can.
You're being modest there. You're up and coming right now.
Yeah, no, I'm trying, man. Like it's just literally, for me, yeah, I'm trying something quite different. I like to play all types of music. I'm doing rap with a lot of metal influences and trying to sneak in some positive messages in there as well. So yeah, I'm dipping into a few things, man. It's just early days. Yeah, man.
That's great, because that's what I wanted to ask you, because I listened to your stuff and there's a mishmash of different genres. I can't really pin it down to one. How would you describe your musical style?
The thing is, I've got so many approaches when it comes to music, man. Like, I grew up listening to a bit of everything, really. Like from my mum and my dad's side, for instance. Like, I think being mixed race in a sense has sort of helped have that sort of culture clash and just be introduced from one area of music to the other. So I grew up listening to metal and things from the age of like 5, 6 or something really early, Linkin Park, Slipknot, that sort of thing. And then was thrown into like the hip hop world as well. So I just thought, instead of trying to target one area, why not just do a bit of everything? Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I love it all. Like, I honestly love it all. So I thought, let's take the risk and just see what we can make. And I'm making some weird stuff. Very weird.
You seem to be more of a solo act. Is there a reason why you went for that over, let's say, a band? Because a band would probably be more in the realm of a metal band
side, yeah,
and then
definitely.
but at the moment I'm seeing more of a sort of performance-wise. I'm seeing more rap.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I'd love to be in a band. Like, I've been in bands. Even just doing session stuff or trying to make a project out of things. For years, I love bands, but I think the problem with bands is when the creative clashes get in the way. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're always, no matter how much people sound like they're on board, someone somewhere down the line is going to say, I prefer doing this, or this is my style, or I'm not too sure this is for me later on in time. And there's just a lot of adversity. There's a lot of challenges between people on a personal level as well.
Yeah.
But that doesn't stop me. Like, I'd love to be in a band. I just think, for me, it's more so of it's a personal development thing, I think. Yeah, for real, because with bands, you're doing it together, which is great, but you still got to do things for yourself. And I think
sort of find your own strengths.
Yeah. And I think with me, like, I needed the kick up the arse. Do you know what I mean? And it couldn't have been done from anyone else. Realistically, I feel like I was at such a standstill musically when I was, a late teenager going into my 20s. When I first moved to Essex, especially, it was kind of like, all right, I don't know the scene. I don't know too many people doing what I want to do. Let's just do it, off of my own back. And to be honest, it's been working out. It's a slow start. It's challenging starting up, like, it really is. But I think it's been, a good eye opener to potential which you have when you put your mind to things. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I've always felt with bands, especially, like, bands should be made when each member of the band sort of is competent enough on their own. So then it's more complementing each other.
Yeah.
More than sort of relying on each other to sort of get yourself through the hurdles.
Yeah.
Like, and you find that with, like, a lot of people that start off as bands really early in their musical career. Later on down the line, that's why they run into trouble, because they start to develop a bit more and, want to go in different directions and want to experiment with different stuff. Something I did want to ask you as well, if we're talking about performance, is why the mask?
There's a few reasons, really. I mean, for me, I sort of grew up, listening to people like Slipknot, Mudvayne, Korn, Mushroomhead, people like that. And there's something about, like, mask and makeup and the sort of theatrical sort of side that, I don't know, just makes everything a bit more, not just interesting, for the aesthetic, but, like, for the live show, I think, it's kind of adding that whole, that doom side to it, do you know what I mean? Like, if you're doing something a little to, to, not to say shock people, because there are some real gimmick bands out there that just look weird.
Yeah.
Like, But yeah, I think for me, it's a bit of that is a stage presence thing, and
It works.
It's working. Yeah, I think it's kind of working on a marketing side right now, to be honest, because when I first started rapping in this style, so in the sort of dark aspects, I didn't wear a mask, and my name was still Revenant. Everyone knew who I was, and it was Revenant, but I didn't really have a meaning for it. I just liked how it sounded, and I'm pretty sure it's a Leonardo DiCaprio film as well, isn't it? With Tom Hardy and the bear and everything. It's just so like I like the sound of it, and then it was literally like my birthday.
It's a pretty brutal film
as well. Yeah, my mum's always like, I can't watch the bear scene. It's just a bit too bad.
Real man. I saw that in the cinema.
Yeah.
But yeah, that kind of works though to your advantage.
Yeah,
because people already have that. If they have seen the film,
they've seen the film, so I guess
they've already got that association.
Yeah, and I think for me, like, because like I said, I didn't wear a mask before, but my name was still Revenant. I wanted to sort of define what Revenant meant, and not just what it means, but what it meant to me. And that's where I touch on like the sort of positive aspects of it, because a revenant basically is someone that's like come back from the dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
The emphasis is more on return.
But,
yes, supposedly from the dead.
Yeah, exactly that. So for me, like, because in this music, I mean, I like writing all types of music, but for me, this style is a chance for me to just open up a little bit and just kind of, show my in a sense my vulnerable side, but just my real side really, and sort of get some things off my chest. And it's kind of like a very positive outlet for someone like me, and for anyone. I would urge anyone to dive into music or something creative to have a positive outlet. But for me, it was kind of like using that metaphor of dying and returning, and to be used for positive reasons. So metaphorically speaking, it's kind of like you can kill off your old self and return, as someone new, or not even someone new, just a better version,
or an idea.
Yeah,
something like Revenant, the mask, and everything.
Well,
like
that's
that.
What I mean. It all
constitutes the same.
Ties in together exactly. So on the surface, you're gonna see, just a crazy guy with dreads, like whipping his hair, wearing a mask, and this and that. But for me, it's kind of like, no, I'm trying to speak about something quite positive, quite spiritual as well. For me, I had a bunch of bad habits, and a bad sort of outlook on certain things in life, and I wanted to eradicate that, and I don't know, just sort of fix myself up a bit. And to be honest, if it weren't for something like music and creative aspects like that, creative avenues, I wouldn't be as confident as I am now. I wouldn't be as open-minded as I am now. I've always been open-minded, but music just sort of opened the floodgate for ideas and meeting people and different backgrounds. It's just it does so much for people. So I wanted to really tie in the whole look, the whole meaning of the Revenant, and then sort of speak on a positive thing for the kids, man.
And on that topic of background, I mean, can you tell us where you're from, and if your surroundings have in any way shaped you in a creative sense?
Yeah. I'm from Slough originally, which is just outside of London. It's like 15 minutes on the train to Paddington, like 10 minutes.
Famously the location of the office.
Or Road Wars, if you've ever
come
home from a night out with your kebabs stuck on Sky One, you're like, oh, what's this shit all that?
Seriously, Road Wars used to be my favourite, like 2 a.m, 3 a.m.
My house has been in there plenty of times, man. Not for those reasons, but, sort of scurrying past, chasing the old robbers. But I don't want to sort of shit on it in a sense, like it's it does what it does, but for me growing up it was sort of it's like an industrial slum in a sense, I mean, it's very based on business, and all that sort of stuff.
It's not really looking at it, it doesn't really seem like a place for kids, I'm not like whoever's growing up there,
you're
saying,
right,
like looking at it,
no, you're right, growing up there wasn't really, I'm not saying much to do, we found things to do, but the fundings weren't exactly there. The environment itself was quite, you were paranoid a lot of the time. Yeah, there was just a lot of crime. Like even now, like I've been out of Slough, nearly 5 years, and I'm still reading the news on Slough. Like, no one's doing anything. They try, like the council try, but they don't understand the people. And because Slough is this is the thing, it's so multicultural that it's racist. Does that make sense? To where like you have all these different districts, all these different boroughs, which are, let's say, predominantly this and predominantly that. So in one area you have predominantly...
Pretty tribal. So.
In a sense, yeah. And once they all sort of meet in the middle of the town, it's all, it's like a big clash in a sense, it's sort of fighting for your territory.
You get that in areas of London as well.
Yeah, which is why, in a sense, I sort of, Slough has been compared in a sense. I believe they're trying to make it a borough of London or something like that, which I don't think would be a great idea. But, I just think it was a place stuck in its way for a long time. It's progressive now, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, there have been some big investments. They're cleaning up certain areas like where I was from. You wouldn't want to look at it twice type thing. And now you're walking around like, whoa, like...
Sort of
gentrifying and stuff, yeah. And for me, like, because it wasn't a place where, for me anyway, creatively, there wasn't much going on, I sort of... that, I think, is what motivated me. I was like, I want to do... like something to not just get out of this place, but get out of the headspace. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like constantly thinking, someone's gonna attack you the next day or whatnot. Like, I wanna, think of positive things because being honest, there weren't much positive going on at that time. You have your memories. Like I've got good friends there still, family still, but it's just I wanted something more. Yeah, and I think that whole sort of aggression because of, the area was aggressive. That was the energy which was unfortunately sort of chucked onto you. Do you know what I mean? So as much as I'm a calm, placid guy, day to day in my music, it's kind of like the complete opposite. Do you know? And people question me all the time, like, where are you getting this feeling from? I was like, listen, anyone, most people are frustrated with something. It's just how you deal with it.
Well, that's the thing as well. It's also about what output you're going to use to get, that's exactly what you're doing with the music.
Yeah.
So... for you, it's really good because you've very clearly defined what your cathartic output is.
Yeah.
And you're right. Everyone has that need for something you need to purge those emotions because you're going to get them. And you might live in Slough, you might live in Colchester.
Yeah, it can be.
You may live anywhere in the country or in the world.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I could have been living in bloody Abu Dhabi or, California or somewhere in the hills and probably still be frustrated at something. Do you know what I mean? I'm not, look at social media. Like every time you turn on your phone, there's just something shoved in your face about something. Do you know what I mean? And it's we are in this era where everyone is triggered by a lot of different things. Hence, one of my songs is called Triggered. Just looking at, all the sort of, not just the doom and gloom, obviously that's everywhere. But everyone has their own sort of personal reasons to be upset about things, Can't go too far, obviously, as we've seen over the last few years over social media. But,
absolutely.
But for me it was like, okay, would I rather be on the streets like a lot of other people in the area, and taken out on the wrong person, or would I rather, put it into something constructive? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So for me, if it wasn't growing up being so interested in music and martial arts, to be honest, like that sort of combat sport or exercise, then I don't know what I'd be like now, to be honest. I'd have no idea.
So where would you say you'd find your artistic inspiration? Is it from stuff like that, from like experiences you've had, or is it?
A lot of experiences have sort of led me to where I am. I mean, that's with everyone. Do you know what I mean? Like, whole cliche saying of, everything you do is for a reason, everything you experience is for a reason. And I think it's come to this now. But at the same time, like, I remember just being a kid, as much as I kind of was a sociable kid, I had my times where, I'd tuck myself away and just be obsessed over, just watching live sets of my favourite bands and things like that and just sort of looking up to them. And I just always had that fantasy. And my dad was also in the music industry for a while as well. He used to be a tour manager. So, and my granddad from my mum's side still is actually in his 80s playing steel pan in a band. So
nice.
My sister played music. A few other relatives sort of dove into it. So I think me being so fantasized and it just being around me a lot of the time sort of helped.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing is that we didn't really have many like venues and stuff in Slough and like outlets and stuff. We had the occasional sort of community centres. They got shut down. But I was kind of like, well, I love this thing so much. I gotta do it somehow. And even for school, for instance, I did it throughout primary school, but when it came to secondary school, we had it for year 7. Teacher got found out for being a pedo. He got sacked. School was like, right, we're scrapping music. It's bringing the wrong crowd in. I was just like, what? I was like, just get a replacement teacher. But they're like, no, we're taking it away. Like, for good. Like, for music, like, they don't sort of see it as a, I don't know, like a priority, I guess.
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. The university I went to, I'm not going to name drop, but university I went to, they scrapped their music degree.
Completely?
Completely, yeah.
Wow. That sort of shows it.
It's still a music hall. But no.
Yeah. It's like, oh, because this lovely venue, we do a weekly jam, but
we don't have any musicians.
No, like, yeah, and it's kind of sad it's come to that point because, like, especially for the kids, man, like, I don't want to sound like that guy, but do you know what I mean? Like, I think for kids, like, it's just so important. Like I said, if I didn't have music or the obsession of it or it just being around me, I don't know what I'd be doing, to be honest. And I think for kids with sort of like troubled backgrounds and unfortunate, if they're in unfortunate circumstances, they're gonna need an outlet sooner or later. Do you know what I mean? Like my mum, for instance, she's a foster carer even now. Like and she was a counsellor and things like that. So she was always sort of helping the kids look for outlets and stuff like that as well. And even if she couldn't find herself like doing that for them, then they would be in the house watching me play guitar in the background or playing drums or rapping into a freaking webcam or something like that, and like they would somehow pick up on it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're like, oh, why is he screaming into a microphone sounding like they were just always curious.
Well, that's the thing, because music always gets dragged into the argument of what kids should be listening to, what kids should be watching.
Yeah.
And for the people who say, especially, hip hop and metal, for that matter, have both been described as, having a detrimental effect on kids in some way, or like leading them in the wrong path.
Yeah.
But like, what would you say against? I mean, why?
I mean, man, like I said, I'm from, in a sense, so many backgrounds, and was introduced from one extreme of music to the other. I remember listening to like 50 Cent, for instance, with those sort of lyrics and that sort of demeanor from such a young age, and then down the line listen to like extreme death metal, Cannibal Corpse, Cerebral Bore, all those sort of brutal death metal bands, and like honestly, like I really don't feel like there's any sort of source of media or sort of format of media which like people would say make you do something.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
The thing I would tell kids is, like, it doesn't matter what music you listen to. I just want them to listen to good music.
Yeah,
and by artists who are genuine. Yeah. In the sense that they're singing about certain stuff because they, like yourself, they've lived certain experiences, or they just have certain points of view on something.
Yeah.
But like, to be fair, there's so much stuff that they're churning out.
Yeah.
Especially in the pop world.
Yeah,
definitely. That is so hollow. It literally, there's no sincerity to it.
No substance.
And that's what kids are, most of them are listening to.
It's not even just...
I'd be more worried about that.
Yeah. It's what's like, it's shoved in their face, in a sense. You know what I mean? It's kind of like they don't really have or they do have the choice. And, for instance, in Spotify, you go on your homepage, you're going to be shoved over the mainstream, in a sense, and, that sort of style, but you can dive in, but you got to allow kids to dive in. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's important from that age, especially, to be as open-minded as you can, because you don't want to get to 30, 40 thinking, every band that wears, all black is like this full emo, this, that, or thinking every rapper's out there to kill someone or something like that.
I still remember all the Marilyn Manson stuff. Yeah. Remember when Columbine happened?
Yeah.
And people were straight up blaming him, saying because like the two shooters at Columbine were listening to Marilyn Manson, but then again, so were millions of kids, and they weren't going.
They're not out there doing that. Yeah, and this is coming from someone that grew up playing like GTA, like San Andreas, GTA 3.
I've never done any of that.
Listen to the most extreme.
Be more concerned about how, like, when people go out and do that stuff in real life, and they've been playing GTA or they're listening to this about music. It's like, yeah, but they also don't know how to, control their own emotions and also, actually take responsibility for things.
For me, it's all about
focus on teaching your kids that, and they'll see things like GTA as what it is. Yeah. It's a game. It's a game. And it's like, for instance, I did the same stuff as a kid, and I haven't done any of that stuff in my life.
And people don't also realise, and sorry to cut you, man, it's just more so like, back to the outlet thing.
Yeah.
People don't realise that those products, or those arts, forms of art, were someone else's outlet. Maybe from very similar experiences.
Yeah.
They put their mind to something constructive and it's quite shocking on the surface, but that's their outlet. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think you can blame Marilyn Manson for anything that he puts in music simply because that was his outlook, that was his life.
Yeah, exactly. That's his...
I mean, the one thing I will say is that you have to remember that there are people listening. This music isn't just going into the ears of computers, like it's going to human beings. So, some people may feel sensitive about what you're saying and stuff, and I get that. But maybe, like you have to know what you're getting yourself into. Do you know what I mean? For instance, like I got introduced to Slipknot when I was like 5 years old. It's like crazy. 5, 6 years old, like seeing it on MTV. My god brother having like a mask. I think it was Corey Taylor's mask with like the dreads that he made and stuff. Like all that sort of shit, like shoved in my face.
I didn't hear them until I was like 14.
Really? Yeah, I was hella early. Yeah, Linkin Park, Pfeffer, all those sort of things. Yeah, hella early. But I think for me from the start, I knew it was, just someone in a mask, just someone playing music. It wasn't someone telling me to do this and do that. Yeah, exactly. Like it wasn't that for me. It was more like, because I'm the sort of person I am, I like to know the deeper meanings of things a lot, and I always questioned why, bands such as Slipknot, such as Marilyn Manson, even on the rap side, 50 Cent, Dr. Dre, why they were so extreme and stuff. And sometimes to get certain messages across, I think it's sometimes necessary to sort of do that. Do you know what I mean? In a very constructive manner. I'm not saying go out there and shove opinions in people's faces.
No, but find an output for it. Like like they have, and that's the thing. Because I look at their music, like it's a very empathetic thing because they're sharing a lived experience with whoever's listening, and kids are receptive to that. And that's why they go after this stuff, because it is at its core, it's so much more meaningful.
Yeah.
Than all the rubbish that they're told to listen to.
And that's the thing. Like anything, like I'm not a dad or anything, but if I had a son or daughter, then I'd want to, give them that exploration as well. Find something that you can gravitate to, on a personal level, not just because your mates are bumping it and it sounds cool. Like I like party music. If I'm off my face in the middle of town and there's just a beat with no substance, then cool, give me that. But in my day-to-day, I want to feel like I'm listening to music that I take something from. Do you know what I mean? Because you're right, it's very hollow out there. It's very, there's nothing to hold on to, I don't think, but you got to look in the right places. Do you know what I mean? I think, for me, I always wanted something more from music. I didn't just want to hear the beat or just want to do this. I was like, I want to know what this person's feeling in this style, or I want to know how they make it.
Yeah.
That was it for me. Like, I play drums and a bit of everything really, but drums was my main instrument. And I just liked that whole aggressive style, especially when it came into metal. I'm like, why are these people smashing their equipment, which cost them $3,000? Like, like, what makes them want to do that? And that's passion. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's another thing, passion. Do you know what I mean? Like, I find, especially in the rap scene, there are people getting into it for other means. It's just a thing with me with it's definitely not all rappers, of course. It's especially in America, for instance, you have a lot of these, huge sort of A-list type rappers in a sense, or even rappers who are starting from the bottom, talking about this lifestyle. I get it. Like, if you, for instance, haven't been very fortunate in the past and you want these great things, like, obviously that's lovely, but, go get it, sure. But be humble, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think there's a lot more to take from the experience. For me, it's like, you know, engagement. Do you know what I mean? Like meeting people, getting people involved with something, you know, positive, constructive. You know, just memories, man. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, man.
Like for me, like there's nothing better than like just going to even like your smallest local gig and come back thinking, whoa, like people actually left their house today. You know, didn't turn on their Netflix after work and thought, I'm gonna go down to the Bull in Colchester or Coda in Colchester or anywhere, you know, really, and spend my evening with real humans, you know, enjoying something which is, you know, definitely doing us some good and doing them some good.
Yeah, man. Like, you sort of hit upon something there that I was talking about last week in the podcast where we're talking about the way we use art, and we were saying, like, you know, art is a way of me talking to people.
Yeah.
To people who wouldn't otherwise understand me in the day-to-day.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's what you're doing as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
you
definitely.
know, it's a way of communicating with people.
Yeah, definitely that. You know, for me, you know, especially with music and this style of music in the sense that I'm doing, you know, some people might say it will attract a certain demographic, you know, which is fine. You know, I realise that, you know, because I'm clashing metal and rap, you know, you're going to get, you know, maybe two different crowds. Do you know what I mean? Or someone, for instance, who's very into just that mix, you know. But for me, like, my goal, you know, is not really to get to everyone. I want to speak to the people that want to hear something like this or maybe need to hear something like this. And also, yeah, fuse the demographics together, you know, the metal guys and the rap guys as well. Do you know what I mean? I think it's happening quite naturally now, to be honest. Like, I'm seeing, you know, even rap artists like Kanye and other people using fonts of
Have
Metallica.
you heard Kanye's new album?
No, not yet.
Oh my god.
Yeah. What are you thinking? Any good?
Oh, it's something.
Yeah.
No, there are seriously tracks on there that are amazing.
There's always a dope Kanye song.
Absolutely,
Like,
but what the concepts. If you had told me like 10 years ago, the guy interrupted Taylor Swift, went on to make an album about the gospel.
Yeah. Flips the switch, right?
Jesus.
I think
literally.
I think it's got, you know, for his sort of thing, like, I remember back in the day, like, I was sort of so against Kanye in a sense, like, oh, this guy's just an arsehole, this and that, but, man, you gotta give him credit, he knows what he's doing marketing-wise.
You know
what I mean?
And
like,
he
I
can
mean,
literally do anything at this point, we'll buy it.
anything, like that whole Trump thing, like, you know, it made everyone so pissed and so triggered, but they were on him.
I kind of found it hilarious. It was like some
Hilarious. It was
like some massive. It was like some massive crossover in the White House.
Yeah.
You know how many memes came out of that?
Man, it was ridiculous. But, you know, think about what he does. Like, he's the sort of person which, you know, in a sense, would do anything to get people talking and get people watching him. Do you know what I mean? So whether this is that,
well,
I don't know. Like,
at this point, I doubt it's even about that. It's literally just all about the album for him.
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Well, at this point, it's like he doesn't even need, like, you'd already got.
Yeah,
like,
you're still Kanye.
He's still
man.
Kanye
like,
West.
Yeah,
you know?
like no one's really gonna forget you like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, see, like hoping Instagram don't get me to that point. Nah, I'm sure it won't. But yeah, like I'm seeing people do it, man. They'll do something crazy for the gram, you know, to get people watching. You're getting clicks. You know what I mean? Which over time, you know, depending on where those clicks take you, builds revenue. Do you know what I mean? Like, because if it takes them to a song of yours, it takes them. You know, it's marketing. Do you know what I mean? And Kanye has been that guy. I mean, look at do you like follow 6ix9ine story and this that? Like,
Oh my god,
man! Like, think about that. He, in a way, blagged that he was a gang member, you know, affiliated to boost. Like I said, those clicks and that interaction.
Look, oh my god, it's
look
so
where it's
backfired.
taken him. Look where it's taken him.
Yeah,
do you know
prison
what I mean?
cell.
Prison, bro. Like, well,
Is it? No,
he snitched and stuff, and obviously.
Oh yeah, of course. Oh god.
Yeah, like he snitched and like
course,
brought
the
people
memes.
down. Yeah, like he.
So now everyone.
People like he's definitely.
Everyone knows he's a snitch now.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like,
And
the whole internet outed him.
Bro, and he doesn't want to do witness protection either. Like, he is literally like, I'm ready to make music again. I was like, yeah, not if you're making like, well, any sort of music he was doing, because it was all related around like gangs and stuff. Do you know what I mean? And like I said, he weren't exactly that. It brought the wrong crowd to him, and he paid the consequences.
Yeah.
Which goes back to what we were saying about, you know, the right things in music. Do you know what I mean? Because, yeah, like I said, people are on the other end of those speakers, and they are taking in what you're saying. And especially in America, they have this whole thing of really testing people who you really are. Do you know what I mean? Like me, for instance, I'm in no way, shape or form a gang member, affiliated, that sort of, you know, guy. So I wouldn't want to give out that energy. Back to the music thing is, yeah, I think for me it's like, I want to make sure I'm putting out the right thing, and not make people think I'm something that I'm not just for clicks. Like, it wouldn't do anything for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like if you're not yourself, then who are people really gravitating to? Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're pretending to be someone, they're not your fans, they're your persona's fan. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you know, cool, people might say that with me in the future of, oh, but you wear a mask and you got a stage name and this or that. I'm just like, yeah, cool. I guess it is like a alter ego type thing, but I'm still me in my music. Do you know what I mean?
I love
like,
the mask.
No, it's different.
I've got to say.
Yeah,
No, I love it.
Like, I got the cloth one.
goes.
I've got a sort of a full like face mold plastic one for when I perform. Just because when I breathe in this cloth one, I just can't breathe, man. Like, it's covering both my mouth and my nose.
So do you perform with it on? Like,
yeah, 100%, yeah.
Like,
but
like, doesn't it smother?
but not this one, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll wear out.
You've got one with a hole.
Yeah,
well.
if I tried to do like a half an hour set in this, like, it's a trip to hospital, man. I'm suffocating in it. Like, I've tried it. I've done small sets with people, and I'm just sweating in it, like sticking against your face. But no, I've got my full sort of my strap on. Let's put it that way. Yeah, I've got my solid one. And yeah, I actually just got to connect with a guy that does prosthetics and makes molds and stuff like that.
Oh, you're
like,
going to actually have one made?
I want to, yeah, definitely, yeah, because
What kind of style are we talking?
it has to fit. Do you know what I mean? Because if you think like this is a skull, my practical one's a skull. So yeah, definitely a skull. But I don't know. I might get a bit. Don't know. I might get a bit sexy with it, man.
Ooh.
Like, yeah, like a couple of little tassels rolling off it. Maybe, I don't know, pure leather. You know. It could be anything. I don't know, but I want to. Yeah, I don't want it to look silly, or you know, because there are some silly looking Poundland masks that anyone can chuck on.
Marshmallow.
Marshmallow. Yeah, true.
Is that I guess it's like a head piece. It's like a helmet.
It is a helmet. It looks heavy. It looks
But not in the Daft
uncomfortable.
Punk cool kind of way.
Cool way, no. It looks clunky. It looks like you fall off whenever you move. Yeah, like for instance, like I said, back to like bands like.
It could be for your shoulders and neck.
No, not at all. Like for me as well. Like, because I sort of jump all over stage and.
Yeah, I've seen your videos as well. You're going, man, how do you sustain that much energy?
This is the funny thing.
You just get really hyped up before the set,
just
jumping up and down.
Hype, man. Like
Tom Cruise on Oprah.
Right. You know, I'm always getting the question, like, are you on something type of thing? But it's actually funny because, well, I rarely drink anymore anyway, but before I perform, I don't drink, I don't do anything. Like, honestly, I have a glass of water on stage to obviously keep me going properly. Because a couple of Jaeger bombs on stage is not a great idea. I've seen where that goes wrong. For me, yeah, it's just like, I want it so much.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I want
love that
so much. Like I said, I was that kid who locked myself in a room, just in a way, like doing my research on performance, in a sense. You know what I mean? Like, growing up watching bands like Slipknot, Architects, Suicide Silence, like especially like very heavy frontmen, sort of, the sort of frontmen which would be like, right, he's moving the band right now. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously the band do their thing. They are, there wouldn't be a band without them. But I think to be an important frontman, yeah, you got a job to do really, which is captivate the crowd.
That's the thing, yeah.
Like you could sound dope, right? Technical, this, that, but if you're not engaging with the crowds, especially at local shows, because you've probably been to a show where everyone's, folding their arms,
like
yeah,
like they're deciding
texting their mom, like, yeah, this show is pretty Dude, like, I'm coming home for dinner. Like, they could be doing anything, like 10 people. And I feel like whether it's 10 people, 10,000 people, like, give your all, man. Because I would hope, anyway, that would be the way that people, you know, will see you. Do you know what I mean? They want to go to see you.
Part of the act, really. I mean, the music's one part. Yeah. But then, obviously, there is that...
The live aspect.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, it's a whole other art form.
Completely.
I've seen great musicians give bad stage performances and vice versa.
And it sucks.
I've seen bad bands get a cheer because they've done just a really good set. Or they've made it hilarious. Like they've
messed up 10 times. They've made a joke.
Exactly,
about
they've made a joke about it.
Yeah,
a little bit of self-deprecating.
Yeah,
and like it's gone down really well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's kind of like, you know, I'm literally just starting out as Revenant in a sense, you know, because, you know, I've always done things in other bands. So of course I've had all the experience in a sense to do what I'm doing now. You know, which has definitely helped. You know, it's definitely helped because, you know, you gotta practice performance, man. I think like you can't just get on stage and do your thing, feel the vibe. But when you're, you know, just sort of going crazy with it, as I do, you gotta know your limitations. I think sometimes, man. Like I literally had my first show just over a month ago in Colchester, and I got to the last song. You know, the energy was dope anyway. You know, people, you know, moshing, jumping up and down, which was cool. But I was like, you know what? It's been such a good night. It's like, I really don't want to end a set with me on the stage. Can someone help me up the top on the ceiling where he just had this big beam where I think that the light machine was on, and I was just hanging off of there, man. Just sort of...
I've seen you crowd surf. I thought that had been banned.
Yeah, like... no, well, I got told that about the Soundhouse anyway, but like, they weren't big fans of it. But every time I've been there supporting people or even doing guest spots, like it's like a signature of mine. Yeah, it's either a wall of death or a crowd surf or, you know, stage dive or something like that. Yeah, definitely. Because, you know, like I said, going back to the sort of local show things, like here in Colchester, there are some dope bands, man. Dope bands, you know, and it's sort of good that I'm starting to make genuine friends out of, you know, a lot of the bands in the scene. It's like my friends in a band called Collected. I've known sort of a few members, you know, before the sort of Collected thing or that sort of music thing, and, you know, that's cool. But the rest of them I've just sort of met through just playing music and just being around the scene. And, you know, they asked me to get on their recent single not long ago, which was dope, man. And the first time I think I properly saw them was when they asked me to play with them, and that was at Metal for the Masses, which is in Colchester, which was packed. You know, like if you ask anyone that was around, it was, wall to wall packed. You know, and that sort of energy is needed at those sort of shows, man. You gotta show what you're about, man. Yeah, and have fun. You know what I mean? Like, and that goes for the crowd too. You know, like if you're paying a $5 to get in, enjoy yourself. You know, you paid a $5. Like, oh, it's just a $5. I'll have a beer and go home. But like, you paid a $5, man. Like, and
have a dance,
have a boogie, man. Like, enjoy yourself. Like, I think, and what people don't realize is that with enough hard work and obviously support, like, these bands, these solo artists, these musicians can really go places. Do you know what I mean? Like, I remember seeing there was a band called Martyr Defiled. They were like a deathcore band, and they plays my god brother's show. Like, he used to be a sort of small promoter in a sense where the scene was when I grew up, and he put on his bands in front of like maybe 20 people max. And then, like, years later, they're playing festivals, you know, supporting bands like Architects in front of thousands. And do you know what I mean? So that sort of stretch, like, that's what I want to see for people. Like, I want to see people get to those points. Yeah. Happens to me, you know, it's cool, but...
Well, speaking of which, what's next for Revenant?
Yeah, oh, man, what's next? Hopefully another podcast. Maybe a round 2 one day. That'd be cool. Yeah, I've got shows on the go, actually, yeah. The next one is one I'm putting on myself, actually. Because even from the first show last month, it was, you know, I not to say I had to put on my own show, but a lot of people didn't know where to place me because of the mixed genres. So I was like, you know what? I might as well put on the show, do you know what I mean? Grabbed a few mates of mine to open up with me and sort of did it from there. So I'm doing that again. My next one's in February for Independent Venue Week, which is... cool, yeah.
What's that?
That's You know what? It used to be either ran or sort of overshadowed by the BBC.
Right.
So they get a lot of local venues, you know, from all over the UK to put on a week's worth of shows. And yeah, you would have, you know, people, you know, in the press come watch, or, you know, so just really sort of promote it to the local scene and just make it a week full of just dope music. Yeah, so my shows, I think the last or first is February the 2nd, which is a Sunday. At the Three Wise Monkeys in Colchester, make it if you can. Putting that on. I've got a little performance hopefully in London with Face Down. And then from there, I think I'm just gonna just sort of put on more shows, and try and reach a few cities and things. Yeah, it'll be cool. It's been fun getting to this point, and I feel like I'm finally at this sort of in the position where, you know, I'm finding what works.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And what doesn't work as well, which is very important. I've, you know, over years you sort of, you know, you build experiences, of course, but building confidence in music or art is important as well, because, you know, you could be a dope musician or, you know, an artist, a sketcher, whatever it may be, and still sort of be stuck, you know, just doing it in your bedroom for 20, 30 years. Do you know what I mean? But for me, it's about getting out there, meeting the people, speaking to people, and sort of sharing the experience. Yeah, that's a big thing for me, sharing the experience. Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's about all we got time for today. Thanks very much to my guest, Revenant, for coming in.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Cheers, buddy. Thanks for listening, everyone. See you next week.